Chapter 1. Origin. The Sisu creatures, or as they are known in the Sisuverse, merely the inhabitants or locals, are born in an unordinary fashion. In the possession of every single Sisu creature is a very special plant. This plant is entirely responsible for the birth of an infant. The plant is bound to only one for life and has complete neurological and emotional connection in ways extremely beautiful and magical. When a Sisu being displays great quantities of positive virtues, they are rewarded by the plant. For example, when one is kind in thought and action over a prolonged and sustained period, a small blue seed grows for harvesting on the plant. This indicates that the individual has earned the recognition of kindness. When all 8 seeds representing each virtue are acquired, they become ready to plant each seed into a special growth pod to begin the process of Sisu creation. The process is slow and takes anywhere between 6 to 10 months, depending on local conditions. The Sisu universe is split up into 8 core districts, 1 central island, and a neutral zone. The central island is said to be the home to the 8 gods: the fire, water, robot, mutant, spirit, evil, Sisu, and the infinity god. Each god has their very own special 8 pets, which represent their personalities. There are those that tell ancient tales of seeing some of these creatures in the wild. But for now, it seems like these remain no more than stories to entertain beliefs and traditions. The 8 core districts are split into territories of land owned by the 8 various virtues. Each territory finds a native creature only found in those regions, which holds deep meaning in the culture of these individuals. There are times when the creatures wander to explore different zones and are cared for by different inhabitants, but the largest populations of these creatures remain found in their specific lands. Scattered around the map in currently unknown locations, 8 golden rose artifacts have been lost and hidden by ancient civilizations. When all 8 golden roses are together, infinite power and resources are accomplished. In the Sisu world, evil is not just a legend told in stories. Many centuries ago, in the ages where the Sisu creatures themselves were much more advanced technologically, this evil, a devil in the shadows, began growing an army. Evil, in the darkest moments of the night, would infiltrate the minds of those who dared wander into the darkest points of the world. The overgrown forests with the most luscious fruit, the deepest caves with the most beautiful jewels and riches, and one's very own mind, which wandered into the depths of greed and power. Here, this evil had a pull which suffocated one's virtues and brought one into evils and into the darkness. The evil went by the name of Piru to all the locals. Piru manipulated civilization to a point of complete collapse, tearing and polarizing the locals to despise each other, when they themselves in actuality were fighting for nothing. Such a strange phenomenon, but Piru could exploit the defensive tendency found in the minds of the Sisu inhabitants. It didn't take long before society collapsed. Factions formed and the Great Split occurred. Sisu beings divided themselves into 8 districts as established by the local terrain, and the creatures that dominated that landscape became the flags and identities of these factions. Hundreds of years later, these very same factions exist, although now many allies have formed and travelers became more welcoming while the strictness of the districts became less constrained and intense. The local animals play a key role in the balance of the ecosystem. There is a diverse range of animals, but a noteworthy 8 key creatures are of significant importance with respect to the districts. It is these 8 animals which ensure proper care is taken to the nature of their region of birth. There are some Sisu locals who are born animal carers, and a wild creature imprints and makes an immediate lifelong connection with these chosen few. With this role, they are given complete freedom of movement across districts, as their roles are recognized to be of a great importance. Chapter 2. The Hunt. More and more groups began to appear. Some individuals took it upon themselves, alone, to hunt for these golden roses across the Sisuverse. An official worldwide hunt began when the gods promised the Sisu inhabitants huge riches for finding and bringing even one golden rose to them. Many have taken it into their own hands in groups to try attaining even one golden rose if they could. Most notably, a group who became known as the Kivi searched the furthest lands and covered the greatest distances. They split up at times to cover more ground. One member of the Kivi group was one of the few who managed to scavenge together a vehicle from the old technologies once destroyed before the Great Split. This individual was known as Repo amongst peers, because of his beautiful black wolf which never left their side. The landscape in the Sisu world is magical and mysterious. Sand dunes, often the home to vast amounts of life, but equal amounts of death and decay of past battles, which are evident only by the treasures and mythical weapons. Floating islands, giant gemstones, and strange plant life lines the landscape with a natural elegance. They searched and searched for years, each clue leading to another. The most beautiful and mythical landmarks were discovered, but not a single golden rose has been found yet. Kivi's unbelievable discoveries inspired the Sisu lands and sparked interest in those initially unwilling to join the hunt. So more and more groups formed. Their goal, of course, to attain all 8. The recipe for success was simple. Form a group, begin the hunt, but never stray too far from the paths.